Hey everyone, it's day 4 of the ProLon diet for me, and I got my Choco Crisp back. So I'm super excited. I got to have a little bit of a sweet treat in chocolate today. But in terms of how I'm doing, I continue to have my headache extremely low on the energy scale, definitely not working out or even doing a lot of the work that I typically do, taking it a lot easier. I'm quite sleepy most of the time, and I'm assuming that that's probably a lot of the withdrawals that are happening as well as my body sort of gets used to a almost no sugar diet. So today I had sort of that in the morning, the tea with the L1 bar. And I actually had a bunch of teas this morning with the L1 bar, and I kind of kept drinking until I got to my lunch time, which was around noon, kind of early. And I had the vegetable soup, which I liked, as opposed to the tomato soup. So today was vegetable soup with olives, which I would say are the best olives I've ever had. Now, it could be that it's day 4 and everything's just tasting so much better. But I remember eating the olive and thinking, God, these are the best olives I've ever had in my life. And I should know, I grew up in Muscat, Oman, and we had some really good olives there. And then for dinner, there was more tea, more olives, and I liked my quinoa mixed soup today, as well as the chocolate crisp. And then, of course, I did something interesting. I bought a Pellegrino based on the interview that I did with Dr. Jack Wolfson, where he talked about how he loves Pellegrino. And I mixed the L drink in the Pellegrino. And that actually tasted divine. Again, it could be that I'm so hungry that anything I eat, my body thinks it's the best thing it's ever consumed. But that Pellegrino L drink, that was really good. I kind of nibbled all day. I didn't break it into 3 specific meals. I started eating pretty much as soon as I woke up, which was a little later than usual, around 9 a.m. actually, because every time I would wake up, I would have the splitting headache, and I just kind of close my eyes and meditate a little bit more. And so I physically got out of bed around 9 and then sort of ate all day, as I did get some work done, did get some writing done. And then, of course, close the day really early. I'm going to go to bed now, which is about 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. And my coping mechanism today was very simple, reminding myself why I'm doing this. I think if the purpose is clear, it's easier to get through the hunger pangs, the withdrawals, the tiredness. And, because really what's preventing me from going into the pantry and just shoving chocolates and nuts in me? It's just that decision that this is fighting off all the things that might be brewing inside, from the cardiovascular disease to aging to cancer cells, etc. So that one decision, and the fact that there's just one more day left, it's easy when you know that there is an end date. And I've got a whole long laundry list of what I'm going to break my fast with. You'll have to tune in tomorrow to find out what was the first thing that I have on my day 6. So just one more day to go. As I was reading the book, as I mentioned, I've continued to read the longevity diet book as part of this program. I've had a lot of questions that have come in. One of the questions that came in is, so you're sharing kind of your daily perspective, but what exactly is it in terms of a macro view of the diet, of the program? So I thought I'd share that with you. So the way the program's divided is, it's day 1 is 1,100 calories, day 2 to 5 is 800 calories, and I'll give you a breakdown of that. By the way, they do put in day 6, and they call it the transition diet, and they're recommendations in terms of what they want you to have on day 6 as you transition back into whatever suits your boat, into whatever you enjoy. So day 1, the 1,100 calories are broken down into 500 calories from complex carbs. And that's, I guess, where the vegetable soups come in. And that's why the soups have the tomatoes and the carrots, etc. And then 500 calories are from healthy fats, which is the nuts and the olive oil. And that's, I guess, where the L-bar comes in, as well as the olives. And then there's one multivitamin and mineral supplement, which is the NR1 I have mentioned to you, the omega-3, omega-6 supplement, and sugarless tea, which is, they want you to drink about 3 to 4 cups a day. It's probably what I've been doing. And 25 grams of plant-based protein, mainly from nuts. And then, of course, unlimited water. So that was day 1. And then day 2 to 5, you come down to 400 calories from the complex carbs, 400 calories from the healthy nuts, still the multivitamin, the omega-6 supplement, sugarless tea. So that's sort of how it breaks down for those who might want to try this diet on their own without having to initially invest in the box. You know, I have a feeling that you could just take the concept of about 1,100 calories day 1, 800 calories day 2 to 5, split evenly between the complex carbs and the fats, and see how you do well on that before you try out the official program. And they also do recommend that you can typically do it as 3 meals or 2 meals and a snack. And day 6, in terms of the transition diet, they do recommend that you continue sort of a complex carb, vegetable-based meal plan and minimize the consumption of fish, meat, saturated fats, pastries, cheeses, milk, etc. We'll see how well I do on day 6 on that. So here's what Dr. Longo recommends for a longevity diet. So the first one is eat mostly a vegan plus a little fish. So it's sort of a pescatarian diet, limiting meals with fish to 2 to 3 times per week maximum. And of course, choose fish, crustaceans, mollusks with the high omega-3, omega-6, B12 content. So that's, of course, your salmon, anchovies, sardines, trout, etc. So you're definitely not taking fish that have the high levels of mercury like shark or tuna, for example. So then the second recommendation is around protein. So if you are below the age of 65, they want you to actually contain your protein intake, unlike what we've been hearing in the media, which is you need protein drinks and protein bars and protein shakes. You know, throw in the protein when you go to Jamba Juice. No, you really don't need that much protein. And I've been saying that for a while. I'm so glad to see Dr. Walter Longo say that as well, that, you know, really if you're about 150 pounds, you just need 60 to 70 grams of protein per day. And in fact, above the age of 65, you just need slightly more than that. And in fact, he also talks about the fact that I think about 20, 22 pounds, and the way you get your protein is you consume beans and chickpeas and green peas and other legumes as your vegetarian source of protein, instead of just automatically thinking that the only way to get your protein is from your chicken and fish, etc. The third core point around the longevity diet is around the good fats. So you minimize your saturated fats from animal and vegetable sources. So think meat and cheese, sugar, and you maximize your good fats, of course, and that would be eating your whole vegetables like the broccolis and the legumes with generous amounts of olive oil. So we hear the word olive oil everywhere whenever you talk about the Mediterranean diet or the blue zones. It's olive oil, and again here 3 tablespoons per day, and nuts, which is about 1 ounce per day. I didn't get that memo. I might be doing about half a pound of nuts a day. I might have to reconsider that. But we do a lot of olive oil. And then, of course, the next is follow a diet with vitamin and mineral content that's complete, or take a multivitamin every 3 days. So it's not a daily multivitamin intake recommendation. It's sort of try to get your nutrients directly from food, and if not, kind of switch, you know, once every 3 days or so, try to get a multivitamin that's from food sources. I love this recommendation, which is select ingredients that really your ancestors would have eaten. And if you watch any of my other interviews, you know, I talk a lot about that. Go back to how your great-grandparents ate. There is something that we bring in our DNA in terms of what we digest and absorb and assimilate really, really well. And it's based on what the ancestors ate. And the way I healed was to actually really go do that. You know, I really went back to sort of taking out stuff that my ancestors hadn't eaten and really focused on that as my core meal every single day. Try doing that. See how you feel. And finally, he talks, Dr. Walter Longo talks a lot about the abdominal circumference in deciding sort of how many times a day you eat. And his recommendation, of course, is to have 2 to 3 meals per day. And really, if you're overweight, then there's a whole different set of recommendations. But if you are sort of normal weight, then, you know, have your 3 meals per day and 1 low sugar snack. So those are kind of the recommendations. There's also something about confining your eating within a 12-hour period. So start at 8 a.m. and then end by 8 p.m. Don't eat anything between 3 to 4 hours before you sleep. That's very Ayurvedic in principle as well, right? So you have a cleansed out digestive system before you go to bed, so your body can get into the next phase of cleaning itself. And then until the age of 65, 70, depending on weight and frailty. Do 5 days of fasting mimicking diet, which is the diet, ProLon diet that I'm testing out, every 1 to 6 months based on your goals. So doing a fast, in fact, if you look at old religions, if you look at religions in general, you will see that fasting was a pretty important part of that. So we've had fasting in Hinduism. Of course, Ramadan is on right now. Fasting seems to be something, again, that our ancestors did as part of their lifestyle. And it's something that we might have gotten too far away from. And so Dr. Valder-Longo reminds us that, bring fasting back into your life. If not for religion, do it for health. And that's it. So those are the core secrets of a longevity diet. And this is day 4. I'm going to bed. You guys have a great night. And I will see you tomorrow, my last day, day 5. Stay smiling. I'll see you then.